You might think poor sleep and memory lapses are just a natural part of getting older. That tossing and turning at night, or walking into a room and forgetting why you came in, is just what happens after 65. But what if I told you that a single ingredient, something hiding in plain sight in your everyday meals, could be silently robbing you of deep sleep, mental clarity, and even your independence? It's not a scary disease. It's not a rare condition. It's something most people consume daily without a second thought. And for seniors across Europe and North America, this one common thing might be the reason why your nights feel restless, your mornings feel foggy, and your brain just doesn't feel like it used to. Now stick with me, because this isn't just a warning, it's a wake-up call. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through real-life stories, proven research, and simple steps you can take, starting tonight, to protect your brain, reclaim your energy, and sleep the way your body was meant to. We call this elderly wisdom for a reason, because when you've lived over 6 decades, you start realizing that health isn't just about numbers, it's about how you feel when you wake up. It's about motivation, memory, and still being you. Let me introduce you to Eleanor, a 74-year-old retired librarian from Manchester, England. She was always the kind of woman who remembered birthdays, kept the family calendar, and read 3 books at once. But after her 73rd birthday, things changed. She'd forget small things, where she left her glasses, the names of familiar neighbors, even whether she'd taken her medication. Her doctor called it normal aging. But Eleanor didn't buy that. She believed in life lessons from the elderly, and she knew her body well enough to sense that something was off. So she did what smart seniors do. She got curious, she started writing down everything she ate and how she slept. And after a few weeks, a pattern emerged. On the nights she ate cereal, toast, or so-called healthy granola bars, she slept worse. She woke up tired, her memory slipped even more. But when she avoided them, her dreams returned. Her mornings felt clearer. When Eleanor realized the connection, hidden sugars, you see, we all know sugar isn't great for us. But what most seniors don't realize is that refined sugars, especially when eaten late in the day, are devastating to sleep and memory. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that older adults who consumed more than 30 grams of added sugar per day were 40% more likely to experience memory issues. And that includes sugars in sauces, cereals, breads, even so-called low-fat snacks. Sugar spikes your insulin, raises your nighttime heart rate, and blocks the brain from entering deep restorative sleep, the kind that clears toxins and strengthens your memory while you rest. Eleanor started cutting out added sugars after 6 p.m. No more cookies, no toast with jam, no sugary yogurts. And the result? Within 2 weeks, she said she woke up feeling like someone opened the curtains in my brain. Her family noticed too. Her conversations were sharper, her stories had more detail, and she laughed more easily again. That's senior health in action. That's the power of taking back control. Now let's talk about the second ingredient, one that sneaks into millions of kitchens every day and quietly fuels inflammation in seniors: refined vegetable oils. I'm talking about canola, soybean, corn oil, the kinds labeled heart healthy in giant bold letters. But don't let the label fool you. These oils are heavily processed, stripped of natural nutrients, and packed with omega-6 fatty acids. And while your body needs some omega-6, too much throws your system off balance. What does that mean for you? It means chronic low-grade inflammation that messes with your heart rhythm, damages your brain cells, and keeps your joints stiff and sore. In other words, the exact opposite of what your body needs as you age. Let me tell you about Walter, a 77-year-old retired history professor living in Nova Scotia. He had always thought he was eating well, plenty of veggies, lean proteins, but he still felt stiff in the mornings, foggy during the day, and couldn't sleep through the night. His doctor told him his cholesterol had crept up, and his blood pressure was acting up. But the real clue came from his own kitchen. Walter realized he was cooking with canola oil every single night, sautéing vegetables, frying eggs, baking with it. His daughter, a nutritionist, convinced him to try a change. He swapped out canola and soybean oils for extra virgin olive oil and grass-fed butter. That's it, no major diet overhaul. And 3 months later, his sleep improved, his joints hurt less, and his doctor said, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." But here's the best part. Walter said something that caught me off guard. He said, "I started dreaming again. Not just sleeping, dreaming. And that's no small thing. When your brain enters REM sleep, it clears plaque, sorts memory, balances emotion. And when inflammation drops, your brain finally gets a chance to do that. This isn't a magic cure. It's not a trendy diet. It's basic inspiration, drawn straight from elderly reflections, the kind that remind us that every small choice matters, especially after 65. And remember, you don't need to cut everything overnight. Just start noticing. Check your labels. Look at the oils in your pantry. Ask yourself, is what I'm eating helping my brain rest? Or is it making my nights harder and my memory weaker? Seniors often ask me, is it too late to make a change? My answer is always the same, not if you're breathing. Walter, Eleanor, and so many others made small, consistent changes, and they gained more than health. They gained dignity, confidence, hope. So tonight I want to leave you with a simple question. What did you eat today, and what will you eat before bed? Will it serve your body or sabotage your sleep? Because your body might be older, but it's still listening, still fighting for you, still asking for the chance to heal. And sometimes healing begins with subtraction, removing what hurts you in silence. Next, we'll uncover two more surprising ingredients, one disguised as a wellness drink, and the other likely hiding in plain sight in your fridge. I'll also introduce you to Ingrid, a 68-year-old from Norway whose innocent evening habit almost cost her more than just sleep. So don't miss that. Trust me, the third one will surprise you. Before we wrap up, let me ask, where are you watching from today? Europe, America, Canada? I'd love to know. Drop it in the comments below. And if this content speaks to you, if you believe in protecting your brain, guarding your heart, and learning from senior wisdom, then like this video, subscribe to Elderly Reflections, and hit that bell so you never miss out on motivation and health tips that could literally change your life. Because your life isn't behind you, it's right here. And it's worth showing up, fully awake, deeply rested, and sharp as ever. If you've made it this far, you already know. What you eat after 6 p.m. can shape everything from your heart rate to your memory recall the next morning. We began by uncovering the two most common ingredients, quietly undermining senior health each night. But we're not done. There are two more common culprits, ones that millions of seniors in the US and Europe still use every night, thinking they're harmless, even helpful. And one of them, it's labeled as healthy right on the bottle. Let me introduce you to Ingrid. She's 68, lives in a quiet suburb of Bergen, Norway, and for most of her life she took pride in her health. Daily walks, fresh food, homegrown vegetables. She believed deeply in elderly wisdom, the kind passed down from her grandmother. Eat real food, sleep early, respect your body. But somewhere along the way, even Ingrid got caught in the marketing trap. You see, every night before bed, she had a glass of juice, sometimes orange, sometimes apple. She believed it helped her stay hydrated, and she thought the vitamins were a bonus. But here's what no one told her. Even a single glass of fruit juice before bed can send your blood sugar on a roller coaster that doesn't end when your eyes close. According to a study published in Sleep Health, older adults who consumed high fructose liquids within 2 hours of sleep experienced more nighttime wake-ups, elevated cortisol levels, and significantly less time in deep, slow-wave sleep, the phase critical for memory retention and emotional balance. So what happened to Ingrid? Over time, she noticed her sleep got lighter. She woke up more often. Marie, once sharp enough to quote full recipes and names of school teachers, began slipping. It wasn't sudden, it was quiet, creeping, and she didn't connect the dots until a routine blood test showed her glucose levels were higher than expected. That was the wake-up call. Her doctor asked about her diet. Ingrid mentioned her nightly juice, and he shook his head. "You're not drinking vitamins," he said. "You're drinking a sugar bomb." She made the change that same night, swapped the juice for a warm chamomile tea. Within 10 days, her sleep was deeper, her mood stabilized, and the fog she had felt in the mornings, it lifted. She said, "It's like I finally stopped fighting my body." This is what we mean when we talk about elderly reflections. Those quiet realizations that your habits, even well-meaning ones, may be holding you back more than helping you. Juice isn't evil, but for older adults, especially those struggling with blood sugar or brain fog, it's the wrong drink at the wrong time. If you still want fruit, choose whole fruit earlier in the day. Your brain will thank you. Now let's move to something even more surprising, and probably sitting in your refrigerator right now. Low-fat dairy. Yes, the yogurts, the skim milk, the fat-free cheese slices. All marketed as good for your heart, light on your waistline, and ideal for people over 60. But let's break that myth. A growing body of research, including a 2022 study from the Journal of Nutrition and Aging, found that seniors who consumed full BAM dairy products had better sleep, stronger cognitive performance. Meet Bernard. He's 79, a retired engineer from Michigan. Stoic, practical, the kind of man who doesn't fall for trends. But one thing always confused him: why he kept waking up at 3 a.m. with no explanation. His wife slept soundly. The house was quiet. But for years, Bernard would jolt awake like an alarm went off in his chest. He tried everything: dark curtains, meditation apps, even cutting coffee after noon, but nothing worked. Until a nutritionist asked him one simple question: "Are you eating enough fat?" Bernard looked puzzled. He'd been told for decades to avoid fat. Cholesterol, heart risk, all that. He had switched to fat-free milk, low-fat cheese, and light margarine for years. The nutritionist explained that his body, especially in older age, needed healthy fats in the evening to stabilize blood sugar, calm the nervous system, and help produce melatonin. Bernard was skeptical, but tried switching back to full-fat Greek yogurt, a little aged cheese, and adding real butter to his evening toast. Within 2 weeks, the 3 a.m. wake-up stopped. He said, "It wasn't just the sleep. I started remembering dreams again. My wife noticed I wasn't repeating stories anymore." You see, for seniors, the body's ability to create hormones declines with age. Fat helps fill in that gap. It slows digestion, keeps you full, and supports both brain and heart, the two organs most vulnerable after 65. So here's the takeaway: stop fearing fat. Embrace full-fat dairy in moderation, especially at night. Avoid sugary yogurts, skip the margarine, and treat your brain to the nourishment it's been missing. By now, we've covered 4 silent enemies to senior sleep and memory: added sugar, refined oils, fruit juice, and low-fat dairy. All common, all marketed as harmless, even helpful, but the truth is, they've been working against you in ways most doctors don't mention. And remember, this isn't just about sleep. It's about cognition, motivation, balance. These changes are part of the deeper life lessons from the elderly. Those subtle adjustments that make all the difference. Now, as we move forward, we'll reveal the last 2 ingredients that could be silently impacting your health more than you realize. One is a late-night snack that seems innocent, but causes inflammation in nearly every senior. The other is something that seems like comfort food, but quietly raises your risk for insomnia, hypertension, and next-day fatigue. And we'll also talk about how to build a nighttime plate that actually works for your brain and heart, so stay tuned. Before we go, I want to know, where are you watching from? Drop a comment below. Canada, Europe, Australia? We love hearing your voice. And if today's episode gave you something to think about, something you want to try or change, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to Elderly Reflections, and ring the bell for more senior health stories, elderly wisdom, and motivation from people who've been there and lived it. Because your best years aren't behind you, they're in front of you. And they're waiting for you to sleep better, think clearer, and live deeper. There's something sacred about the stillness of evening, especially as we age. The sun lowers, the noise fades, and for a few precious hours, the world slows down. It's a time when your body finally begins the deep work of healing, not just sleeping, but repairing, recharging, restoring memory, balancing your heartbeat, recalibrating the systems that kept you going all day. But here's the truth no one talks about. The body can only do that work if you give it the right tools. And far too often, what seniors eat in those final hours is working against that process, not with it. So far, we've uncovered 4 of the most common disruptors to sleep and memory: added sugar, vegetable oils, fruit juice, and low-fat dairy. Now, as we wrap up this journey, we're going to uncover the final 2 culprits, surprising everyday staples that most people never think twice about. But for those over 65, especially in North America and Europe, cutting them out could be the difference between waking up confused and waking up feeling like yourself again. Let's start with something I hear about all the time from viewers: crackers. Yes, that box of buttery, flaky, comforting little squares you reach for at night, thinking it's a harmless snack. Maybe you eat them with cheese or a cup of soup, or even alone while watching the evening news. But for seniors, refined carbs like crackers, especially the white flour, low-fiber kind, are a silent saboteur of brain and heart health. Here's why. Refined carbohydrates digest fast. Too fast. They spike your blood sugar right before bed, and when that sugar crashes a few hours later, it wakes the body in panic. You might not notice it as full wakefulness, but your brain does. It means less deep sleep, more nighttime awakenings, and most critically, it weakens the glymphatic system, the brain's overnight cleaning crew that flushes out toxins and repairs neurons. And when that process is interrupted night after night, memory begins to fade, mood declines, and energy never fully refills. Let me tell you about Charles. He's 82, a former accountant from Manchester, who prided himself on routine. Every night, after his 9 o'clock cup of tea, he'd have a handful of crackers. He believed it helped settle his stomach. But over time, his sleep got worse. He felt tired during the day, struggled to concentrate, and forgot small but important things, like where he left his keys or whether he'd locked the front door. His daughter, a nurse, finally convinced him to track his food and sleep together. The culprit was clear. The crackers were causing a sugar spike, followed by a crash, and it was waking him up around 2:30 every single night. So he swapped the crackers for a boiled egg and a few almonds. And almost overnight, things changed. He slept deeper. He woke up clearer. And most of all, he said he felt more present. That's what senior health is really about. Not just avoiding illness, but feeling fully awake in your own life. Now let's look at the final culprit, something many seniors turn to for comfort, but that's often doing quiet damage after dark. Processed meats. I'm talking about deli slices, sausages, even that innocent-looking ham in the fridge. These products are high in sodium, preservatives like nitrates, and inflammatory fats, all of which are known to increase nighttime blood pressure and disrupt the circadian rhythm. But what most people don't know is that they also contain tyramine, a compound that stimulates the release of norepinephrine, a brain chemical that keeps you alert. That means eating processed meats close to bedtime can literally trick your brain into staying awake, even if your eyes are closed. Now meet Gloria, 76, from Illinois. Widowed 3 years ago, Gloria had a habit of making herself a small sandwich before bed. Turkey slices on white bread, just something to hold her over. She never thought twice about it, but after several months of feeling anxious at night, waking up drenched in sweat, and struggling with restless legs, her doctor ran some tests. Her sodium was elevated, her sleep hormone levels were off, and worst of all, she was starting to forget names, even her grandchildren's. Her doctor suggested cutting out late-night processed meats. Gloria was skeptical, but she listened. She switched to a small cup of Greek yogurt with cinnamon and a few walnuts. Within 2 weeks, her nighttime panic was gone, and she said something I'll never forget. "I feel safe in my sleep again." That sentence. That's what this is all about. You see, food isn't just fuel. For the elderly, food is information. It tells the body what to do, how to feel, when to rest, and when to repair. And at night, that message is more important than ever. That's why we've explored 6 ingredients over the course of this series, each one sending powerful signals to your brain, your heart, and your long-term health. Sugar says pamphlet, juice says spike, low-fat dairy says starve the brain, crackers say wake up, and processed meat says stay alert. But when you replace those messages with better ones, walnuts, full-fat yogurt, Greek cheese, warm turmeric milk, spinach salad, or herbal teas, you tell your body you're safe now. It's time to rest. You've done enough today. Let's heal tonight. Let's recap the simple swaps. Instead of sugary desserts, try a kiwi, which boosts serotonin. Instead of crackers, try a small egg or almonds. Instead of low-fat yogurt, choose full-fat Greek. Instead of fruit juice, have water or unsweetened herbal tea. Instead of processed meat, go for cottage cheese or a spoonful of nut butter. And if you're overwhelmed, just start with one. Tonight, the lesson from Elderly Reflections. Start small, but now let me leave you with one final story and one question. Harold, 87, from Ontario, told me in an email that he started this journey not because he wanted better sleep, but because he was afraid. Afraid of becoming a burden, afraid of losing his thoughts, afraid of drifting through the last chapter of life feeling dull. But after making these changes, he said, "I feel like I'm back in the driver's seat." That's what motivation looks like. That's what life lessons from the elderly sound like. Choosing to show up, choosing to care, even now, especially now. So tonight, as you prepare for bed, ask yourself this: what message are you sending your body? Are you choosing food that restores or food that steals? Because how you sleep tonight shapes how you think tomorrow. And your story? It deserves a clear mind, a strong heart, and restful nights. Don't let that be stolen by a snack that was never meant for you. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Are you in the US, the UK, Germany, or somewhere else entirely? Let us know in the comments below. And if this video gave you something to think about, something to try, Hit that like button, subscribe to Elderly Reflections, and turn on the bell so you never miss a moment of senior health, elderly wisdom, and inspiration from people who've lived it. Because the truth is, even in your 70s, 80s, or beyond, your body is still listening, your choices still matter, and your life still has chapters left to write. So, here's to the small things that make a big difference. Here's to rest, here's to memory. Here's to you.